The president says he may use the Insurrection Act because at this point, the protesters have now turned to, many of them have turned to agitators who are now impeding law enforcement for being able to carry out their jobs. They are physically being attacked and assaulted, flashbangs fireworks being shot at them, as you see in this video. Do you support the National Guard coming into your state, coming into Minneapolis?
So I'm hoping that Tim Walz will reach out to the Trump administration and they can work this out. I do not think escalating on either side is the best answer. A leader as governor would be on the phone with the with the Trump administration saying, how can we work together? In other communities where you're not having these sanctuary policies, there's not this chaos because they can just take the criminals from the court or the jail and follow federal law. The Biden administration allowed 11 million people into our country. They were not upholding the law. And if we want to get back to rule of law, we should be doing it in partnership with local law enforcement so that our communities and our citizens are safe and that agents are safe.
You don't want, so just understanding this, you don't want this to obviously escalate into anything bigger. I don't think anyone really does as well, but we're already seeing the escalation process take place. If Governor Walz doesn't tone down the rhetoric, who is there to help the citizens? Because if you have a sanctuary city, you know, the city police, they're not getting involved in this. They're not, obviously, they're not able to do, they're not able to work collaboratively with ICE officials. At some point, the National Guard may have to come in if Governor Walz doesn't move forward. Would there be a moment that you do support that?
You know, I'm currently encouraging everyone to work it out so that we don't have to. We should have a partnership with the federal government, not be pitting ourselves against the federal government. And Tim Walz has failed repeatedly. He continues to box himself in instead of reaching out and finding a cooperative solution. And that's what our citizens expect. So there should be a way where we can have this figured out where we're enforcing federal immigration law peacefully. And that starts with Tim Walz reaching out to the Trump administration and saying that they will cooperate. They will allow them to be picked up at the jails and at the courthouses instead of roaming through the neighborhoods. That's not what any citizens want. We want rule of law, and it starts with the governor allowing it to happen.
That does sound nice. I want to play this. Democrat leaders in the state pouring fuel on the fire. You mentioned this. This is Governor Walz and the mayor of Minneapolis.
Let's be very clear. I've seen conduct from ICE that is disgusting and is intolerable. If it were your city, it would be unacceptable there too.
News reports simply don't do justice to the level of chaos and disruption and trauma the federal government is raining down upon our communities. They're breaking windows, dragging pregnant women down the street, just plain grabbing Minnesotans and shoving them into unmarked vans. Donald Trump wants this chaos. He wants confusion. And yes, he wants more violence on our streets.
He also goes on to say ICE officers are going door to door now and ordering you to turn in your neighbors of color. I mean, respectfully, I think what you're saying is fine and good, but Governor Walz is not working with the Trump administration. That is his recent statement. That is why he is talking about using the Insurrection Act to come in, because how can you carry out federal law enforcement if you cannot do your job, if citizens are impeding and being emboldened by what the governor and the mayor are saying in this moment?
Right. Governor Walz is fully responsible for the chaos. He's blaming it on the Trump administration, but it's his policies that have made this happen in our state. He could have law enforcement working side by side, ICE, to protect the community, to protect the agents. That's what goes on in other states. And instead, he's trying to pit local law enforcement against federal law enforcement and create all this division. So he could cooperate. He could allow them to pick up criminals at the jails and at the courthouses so that they don't have to look through all our neighborhoods looking for where people have fled to. So I fully lay this responsibility on Tim Walz. He should be helping enforce the rule of law instead of undermining it.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.